So I love the characters individually, but I love watching the growth of Quinn and Angie, both as in their friendship dynamic as well as individually. So, can you talk to me a little bit about the growth that we see in them individually and collectively through the three seasons, but especially in season three? And Grace, I'll start with you.
I think it's really kind of lovely because you see Quinn and Angie in their respective spaces, and then as the seasons go, you kind of see them do that. So in the beginning, you have, for example, Angie not necessarily in a committed relationship, kind of dating around. By the end, you see her in this committed relationship as we start season three. Quinn is wanting that committed relationship, trying to be in that committed relationship. And then you see her at the top of season three talking about how, she gonna descend her men and she's gonna focus on herself, right? And that's just one example. So, I mean, you see these women living life differently as they try to sort it out, as they try to navigate it. And as the life would take them, they are going with the flow in a way as they're navigating their own selves and identities. And they're allowing themselves to be impacted. They're allowing themselves to be changed. They're allowing their idea of who they thought they were going to be and who they thought they should be to change. And I think in that, they're finding answers.
Well, I want to piggyback off of what Grace was saying. I think one of my favorite things when I first got the role was trying to figure out how can I show the similarities between Quinn and Angie. And so I would find moments or like in scenes like when can I act like Quinn because they share clothing. And so as much as they are polar opposites, they have so many similarities as well. And so watching them switch, I'm like, yes. So it just feels like a gratification to this game I've been playing internally anyway as an actor in crafting Angie. And I love that this season you'll see her expectations of her expression or her expectations of love change and how she expressed it and what she thought of herself regarding relationships. And also you see her shift into having to balance now having a real flourishing career and mature in that way. I think so much in their relationship, there's been such a maturity and an understanding of being able to hold space for each other. I think there were moments where Angie brushed aside some of Quinn's issues or pain because she's like, well, you've got money. It doesn't matter. Girl, if I had that, things would be fixed. But knowing, I think in Angie having, well, one, having Quinn be so vulnerable and saying, I need you to take me seriously. And someone who doesn't often ask for things, you have to hear them when they do. It resonates differently when you hear someone who like is always the strong friend suddenly break down and say, I need you. So it required her to mature in order to sustain the relationship so that Quinn's needs were met, but then also going through a successful moment of her own and having moments where she still felt upset because we think sometimes success and getting the dream changes things, but you're still a human being with other interactions happening as well. So experiencing finances and experiencing success while also experiencing fear and pain, I think allowed her to see Quinn differently, but also hold space for her and then also ask for the same thing in return.
So, kind of on that, the theme of timing and love and career and so many things, women's health, they've been some of the topics that we've covered over the course of the show. For you, throughout your characters, what was your favorite sort of concept to work out as Quinn or as Angie?
They all know this one for me, but it was actually Quinn's depression story. And I think that's for multiple reasons. One, because I think it's deeply important to speak about mental health, especially in Black communities. I think that it's really time to normalize speaking about it and kind of share with one another what works and the tools and all of that, because I feel like there's a lot of focus in society about being physically healthy, but our minds are just as important, if not more important in a lot of ways, to be paying attention to as well. So I loved that. And then it kind of carried a double meaning for me because When I gave birth, I was diagnosed with severe postpartum depression. And so I was able to really feel that storyline on another level and be grateful for the different ways in which Quinn represented it. Because I was not aware that depression could show up in different ways. I was aware of the sadness, and I was aware of, like, feeling depleted. I did not know that it could show up as fatigue. I did not know that it could show up as overwhelm. And so there were things that became new for me that I was grateful that I was able to be introduced to that in a certain way with Quinn. So that for me would have had to been my favorite topic to explore.